Okay, Carmen, it's great to have you here. Carmen Heaney, it's great to have you here with us. And we're in the hospice shop in Swinford. And of course, the hospice here, the shop is 25 years old this time, this year. So um, we, we're glad to have you. And can you tell us a bit about yourself now, Carmen?
Certainly,
Yeah,
and thanks for having
you're
me
welcome. You're welcome.
interview today about the hospice. My name is Carmen Heaney. I'm originally from outside Swinford in Mealich, and I currently live in Calaser.
Mm-hmm.
And my background is nursing. I trained in Galway and then moved on to Dublin, where I worked in cardiology and heart failure services. And in later years, about 10 years ago, moved to ATU where I lecture in
Okay.
research. I'm very interested in chronic illness
Mm-hmm.
and management of chronic illness from
Mm-hmm.
detection right through to
Mm-hmm.
end of life and I suppose maintaining quality of life in people whose lives and length of life is limited. And I'm delighted to have been given the opportunity to join the board of the hospice 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and the Mayo Hospice Foundation.
Well, that's great, Cameron. Can you tell us a little bit about the hospice? You know, because people watching this might know so much about it as you do. So, you know, the value of it, the importance of it, the reason why it's so important and what it does and
Sure.
what
Well,
it offers and all that.
the hospice movement, I suppose, historically came from caring for people with cancers, in
Mm-hmm.
particular, at the
Okay,
end of life.
okay,
But now it is very much reframed to supporting individuals in the community or in hospital
okay,
with life limiting conditions.
okay.
So it's not just about cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not fully understood, I think, in the community.
Mm-hmm.
It may be for individuals with Parkinson's, with heart failure, in advanced stages of the illness, not necessarily at a stage of dying, but a stage where quality of life is quite impaired.
Mm-hmm.
And the hospice services and the palliative care services can support those individuals to live well. And quite often we see people um, involved in the hospice but still having active management of their condition, and
Mm-hmm.
that's very important,
Mm-hmm.
and that's understood.
Mm-hmm.
A family that comes forward or an individual for hospice support, it doesn't mean giving up your battle or still trying to control symptoms and live well under your clinical management. They can happen hand in hand.
Okay. And I know there's this term palliative care. I know because coming across that as a priest and people were receiving palliative care.
Yes.
So, but can you tell us a little bit more about palliative care and what it all involves?
Okay,
Yeah,
but without getting
yeah,
into
yeah.
the heavy clinical side
Okay,
of it,
yeah.
it's a holistic approach to
Okay,
caring for a
okay,
person who may not survive their illness, but
yeah,
you're taking them as a whole person.
okay.
You're looking at their psychological needs, their spiritual needs,
Mm-hmm.
and their physical needs,
Okay,
and balancing treatment with feeling well and living
okay,
as well as you can in that
okay,
moment.
okay,
And then
okay.
there's a layer of end of life support as well, but it's
Okay.
not all about the end of life. It's
Okay.
really about being supported
Yeah.
to live well
Yeah.
and as a whole
Yeah.
person.
Okay. And the other question that's going through my head now, Cameron, is you know people that will say end up there as a patient in the Mayo Hospice.
Yes.
Um, do some of them recover, or is it kind of really end of life for all of
Well,
them?
there are, I suppose,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
categories.
Okay. Okay.
There are individuals that opt for the hospice support for respite, so
Okay.
maybe they're
Okay.
still journeying, getting
Okay.
treatment for their illness.
Okay.
They know it's not curable, but
Okay.
they're not necessarily at end of life, but they can go
Okay.
in for improved symptom
Okay.
management,
Okay.
physiotherapy, other
Okay.
adjunctive therapy.
Okay.
So they might go in for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
come home again.
Okay.
It may coincide with
Yeah.
a holiday
Okay.
or other things, or just
Okay.
improve symptom control
Right.
and home
Okay.
again. And then others may go in for end of life support.
Okay.
And it's very
Okay.
variable and it's
I
very
know.
tailored to
Yeah.
the situation at hand at that
Okay.
point in time.
Okay.
But it is, and I've experienced this myself,
Mm-hmm.
it is a very nice thing when you've someone reaching end of life that has already engaged with the hospice
Yeah.
family and
Yeah.
the staff, and
Yeah.
they're going into
Yeah.
familiar
Yeah.
faces as well. So
And I know they do great work in there because I've been in there to see patients.
yes,
You know. to see them when they were still alive and also after they passed away, you know.
That's
So
right.
I've seen that they do great work in
They
there.
do amazing
Yeah,
work,
they
and
do.
they have
Yeah,
very good care teams in the
yeah,
communities.
yeah,
Well, in
yeah,
coming out from
yeah,
Castlebar Hospital, or
yeah.
Mayo University Hospital, and the Mayo Hospice, but
Yeah,
also the Roscommon
yeah,
Hospice and
yeah.
community team.
And I know some of the palliative care people come to houses, don't they, and
That
homes of people.
that's right,
Or
and
some,
that's very
yeah, it
important.
is.
And
Yeah,
indeed,
yeah,
before the hospice, that
yeah.
was the only model
Okay,
for many. But
okay,
um, it's about people's choices. People
okay,
may choose to have their end of life in their home
okay,
or come into the hospice for that
okay.
support. And
Oh,
the
good.
service, the
Yeah,
umbrella service,
yeah,
offers both
yeah.
to
Because I've
people.
seen cases of people at the end of their lives, and it was the end of their life was made so much easier and so much more comfortable for those people. And I was with them when they passed
Yeah,
away sometimes, you know. So
yeah.
that's why I think the hospice is a great thing, really, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's very supportive. It's
yeah,
very holistic,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
and the person and
yeah,
their choices and
yeah,
what matters to them is always front and center of the
absolutely. Yeah,
effort.
yeah. And you mentioned life limiting conditions and
Mm.
things. So I know cancer. I'm sure there are other ones. Could you mention some of the other conditions like that?
I mentioned some. It's
Yeah,
not an
I
exhaustive
know, of
list,
course. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
the common ones would be heart failure,
Okay.
where a person with heart failure can go on for years, but have these episodes on and off where they're really struggling, and the palliative services can support that. Obviously, cancer, some of the other cardiovascular diseases and stroke, um, Parkinson's, dementias, motor neuron. You know, as I said,
Big list
there's a
of them.
big list, and
Yeah,
it's not all of those individuals
yeah.
might want to
Okay,
avail of palliative
okay,
care services, but they
okay,
are available and increasingly popular.
okay. Well, that's very good, and it's
Mm.
good. I think it's good to have our own hospice here in Mayo, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah,
If you think
yeah,
of the difference,
yeah.
the before the Mayo Roscommon Hospice
Okay.
came to Castlebar, and the one to Roscommon,
Mm-hmm.
all the west was really being served by Galway or Milford and Limerick and
Okay,
another territory,
okay,
or Dublin. So
okay.
for some families to have a hospice closer in terms of
Yes.
commuting,
Yeah.
family being able to go in
Exactly.
and out, or
Exactly.
indeed go in and stay with with the person.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
it's a big change.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
a big improvement in things
it
for
is.
people,
It
isn't it?
is.
Yeah.
It is.
And I know people
Yeah.
are very pleased. You know, the people that have someone who were in there, was in
Mm.
there, or who maybe passed away in there, or whatever. They're always very pleased with what the hospice does for their relative. Or
They're
yeah.
exceptionally
Yeah.
very special group of people
Yeah.
that work
I
in
think
the
so.
hospice
Yeah.
services,
I think
and
so. Yeah.
yeah, there's very good support for families
I think so. Yeah.
around
Yeah.
all of that time,
Yeah.
but even
Yeah.
after they
Yeah.
may have suffered a bereavement,
That's
there's
right.
very good
Yeah.
follow up support for
Yeah,
families
and
as
I
well.
was in there visiting somebody who did pass away some time ago, and I saw they had a lovely booklet.
They
It's a
do.
beautiful booklet with
Yeah.
reflections and prayers, and I thought it was so beautifully done.
It's really
It
nicely done.
is, yeah. And
Yes.
so you'd have to admire the professionalism and the effort that's put into that. You
Yes.
really would have to admire it. You know,
Yeah.
it's great to have that. You know, whereas in the past, years ago, there was nothing really for someone who
No,
was
or
in that
what was
state.
there might have been quite
Yeah,
silent,
it was. It
but
was.
the
Yeah,
support is wonderful within
yeah,
the services.
yeah.
And
Thank God for it.
for example, the Mayo Hospice, it's not just about nursing and clinical care.
Okay.
There's a lovely therapy dog that
Yeah.
comes in. There's aromatherapy. There's a hairdresser.
Okay.
There's physiotherapy. There's
Yeah.
a hydro pool.
Yeah.
Um, a
Yeah.
lot of a lot of services that bring people great comfort, whether they're in for respite and going home again,
Okay.
or at a later stage.
That is great. That is, as you said, it's holistic,
Very
isn't
holistic.
it? It's
Yeah,
not just one side of
no,
things. Yeah.
lovely restaurants,
Yeah.
lovely
Yeah.
gardens,
There is. I was
lovely
in the
art
restaurant.
rooms.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
in the restaurant actually. So it's the whole person
it is.
that's being
It
cared
is.
for,
Yes.
which is fantastic, really. You know, it's really good. And I suppose then another question is like, how can we support the hospice movement then, as people, members of the public or whatever?
I suppose, well,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
are exceptionally generous
yeah, yeah,
to the hospice, and
yeah,
there's so many
yeah,
ways to support. I mean, we know
yeah,
about there's financial ways
yes,
in terms of
yes,
fundraising,
yeah,
wills, things like
yeah,
that, but
yeah.
um, even more simple is communicating the message around
Mm-hmm.
hospice, that
Okay. Yeah,
broader definition of what
yes, yeah,
hospice and palliative care is, rather
yeah,
than the
yeah,
traditional understanding
yeah,
that might
yeah.
instill fear in people of engaging with
Of
the
course,
services.
of course, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's even the messaging and
yeah.
sharing the message and
That's right.
experiences.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
we're here in the hospice shop in
yeah,
Swinford. I mean,
yeah,
until I sat on the board, I had
yeah.
no idea of the
Dear,
extent
of course.
of support that was coming via
Yeah,
the hospice
yeah,
shops.
yeah.
In terms, there's obviously a core staff that are employed by the
Mm,
foundation
mm-hmm.
to with oversight of
Yeah,
the hospice
okay,
shops, but
okay.
there's a huge amount of volunteers within all of the
Yes,
communities
there is.
that
Yeah,
give their time to come
yeah,
in, sort
yeah,
clothes,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
you'll see here it's a
yeah,
very
yeah.
welcoming
It
store.
is, it is,
People
yeah,
come. It's a very social
yeah,
community. You know,
absolutely,
people
yeah.
come in and have a cup
To
of tea
do,
and chat.
to do, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
People donate so much
They do,
to the shop, and
absolutely, yeah,
all donations are
yeah,
extremely welcome.
yeah,
And you know, the turnover is very good in the
yeah,
shops.
yeah.
I suppose one of another way to support, in addition to the donations, and
Mm-hmm.
I've said this to my own children, is
Mm.
to use hospice shops. It's
Right,
amazing what you'll
yeah,
find.
yeah,
Not just hospice,
yeah,
charity shops. It's
yeah,
amazing
yeah,
what you find, and it's not
yeah,
just about the cost
yeah,
component. It's the
yeah.
circular economy.
It
It's,
is,
you
it
know,
is,
and
it
bringing
is.
children in and letting them see the
Yeah,
little trinkets and
exactly,
things
yeah,
that are in,
exactly,
and
yeah, yeah,
spending their money a little more wisely as well, and
exactly.
explaining
There's
the
lots,
value in that, not just monetary but
yeah,
environment.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
That's important, and I come in here a lot myself to buy books because I'm fond of
yeah,
my books. So I'm in here. I'd say nearly once a week, sometimes twice a week, just getting books, and it's surprising the bargains you get.
well,
You
they're
know, the
unbelievable the
unbelievable
bargains
books.
you get,
Yeah,
but it's that
yeah,
reusing, that
it is,
psyche of
it is.
reuse in the community is so important.
And you
So
meet people in here in the shop
you
as
do,
well,
yeah,
which is fantastic, and have a chat. And
yes,
the women, you know, there at the counter, and the women that work here, the people that work here. It's lovely to meet them as well.
it's lovely. It's a
Yeah, it
lovely
is.
environment,
It
and
is. Yeah,
the shop in Swinford, but any of the shops I've visited,
yeah,
you get that
yeah,
warm welcome
yeah,
and
yeah.
gratitude. And again, it's to call
Absolutely.
in and thank them for
Yeah,
what they're
yeah,
providing for
yeah, yeah,
the community. You know, the
yeah.
service touch all of us at some point in time in
Well,
some way.
exactly, exactly.
It's very much
Yeah.
appreciated.
Oh, it is. And I know I go to the one in Castlebar as well,
Yes,
the hospital shop in Castlebar, which is a bigger
yes,
building anyway. But
yes.
some very good stuff that you could get hold of there as well.
Mm.
And as it wouldn't cost you too much either,
No,
you know,
no.
so which is great. And you know, I know I'm supporting something important that
Exactly.
could help people and all that kind of thing,
Mm.
which really means a lot to be able to support
It does.
things,
Mm.
you know, people that need help and need care and all that kind of thing, you know.
Mm.
So
Mm.
yeah, it's really it's fantastic what the work that's done. I suppose I'm lucky that I've had that experience of going into the hospice to visit patients
Yes.
and to see what's done for them. And if it's end of life, they end their lives happy in a sense. I remember going recently to visit a woman, a friend of mine, a friend of my friend's mother, and she was in such a happy state, even though she was passing away. But she didn't believe she was passing away because she was so well cared for.
Yeah.
You know, and it was lovely to experience that.
Yes.
And she said she felt as good as ever she felt for a long time.
Content.
You know, she
Yeah.
was very content. And that was good for her because up until she went in there, she wasn't in
Yeah.
very good shape.
It's
You
it's
know,
a very
yeah,
difficult
yeah, yeah,
phase of life for any
yeah,
individual and their
yeah,
families, and
yeah. It is.
it's
It is.
just to even that sense of support and
That's right. Yeah,
comfort
yeah.
is invaluable at that point in time, and
Absolutely.
they do
Yeah.
that well, I think.
And the kind of care that's given is, as I say, it's holistic and it's tremendous care that they get the
Yes,
people in there. You know,
yes,
it's, as you say, it takes a special type of person, I think, to work in that kind of a place.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
extraordinary,
they are. Yeah, yeah,
extraordinary professionals.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Carmel, thanks a million. And you mentioned there, Carmel, about the importance of getting the message out about hospice. So this is what you and I are doing here through YouTube. So a lot of people watch these videos that we put up. So um, I know a man in Wexford who watches every single one of them, and also another man in Donegal. So you'll be watching this, and and other people watch it as well. And probably we'll tell the people here in the shop where to find the video as well. And look, thanks very much.
Oh, thanks
for-
yourself.
no,
It's, I mean,
yeah.
messaging and
It
communication
is.
of
Yes.
what's going on the ground is
Exactly.
invaluable to
Yeah.
us in the foundation.
Yeah,
and
well, I'm so glad to be able to
appreciate
do
it.
that for our hospice because I know how important it is,
Yes.
and appreciate the shop as well. Indeed, just where
Yes.
you can get books and all kinds of books at times, and it's great. So look at, thanks again.
Thank you very
And,
much for the time.
Thanks, Carmen.
All
Thank
right.
you. Great.
Okay.
Well done.